My name's Elly Cockcroft. I'm the head of marketing at Marylebone Cricket Club. Have we got any cricket fans in the room? Oh, good. That's always encouraging to see. But most of you, I'm sure, are familiar with Lord's Cricket Ground, which MCC owns and operates. I've been at Lord's since 2005, when I joined as a hospitality executive, having just graduated from a master's degree in sports marketing at the University of Memphis in Tennessee. And never one really to shy away from a challenge. I took the role with only one objective in mind, and that was to put brand and marketing on the business map at MCC. Since my time there, I've established and grown the first brand and marketing team that it's ever had. So if you don't know much about MCC and Lord's, on your left is a picture of an Eton v Harrow cricket match that was played at Lord's in 1872. It was very much a game of the gentry. You had to be fairly upper class to come and watch the cricket at Lord's back then. And this is actually, the Eton v Harrow match is one of the oldest fixtures still to be played at Lord's today. But on the right-hand side, you'll see an image of a match we hosted at Lord's this year, MCC v Hertfordshire. And it was our anniversary day. We celebrated 200 years of being in St John's Wood this year. And it was the first time we allowed spectators to be on the pitch and watch the cricket from the outfield since about the 1980s. So it was quite a unique occasion. And you probably see some definite similarities between the two pitches, but there are also some marked differences. Whilst cricket has evolved, and the business of cricket has certainly progressed, it's almost unrecognisable, and even since I first started in 2005, it's changed dramatically. And that's partly because our customers and their needs and expectations have changed. And that will be part of the story that I tell this evening. So who can spot the odd one out in this picture? Yes, it's the woman. So I'm sure this is a very stereotypical view of what many of you think when you think of MCC or Lord's. And you'd be right to think that, actually. This is an image of our MCC committee in 2012, and it's much the same today. But the reality is not always so stereotypical. And really, my role is to break down these stereotypes. These images are actually of the same match earlier on this year. And as a result of insight, and in order to build our brand proposition, we created a day which encouraged young families to the ground for the first time. So what does Marylebone Cricket look like in data? Here's a snapshot of MCC data, if you like. I'm not going to go through all of the numbers because it might get a bit dull, but would anyone like to perhaps point out a number and tell me what they think it means in terms of our data? Anyone? So 22,000 is the number of members that we have, MCC members that we have. One of the most significant numbers on here, I think, is the average age of our member is 64, and the average age of our general ticket purchaser is 47. 86% stands for the number of male ticket purchasers. This number, 510, is how many female members we have out of the 22,000. 1787 was when MCC was founded. So all of a sudden, this data is starting to paint a picture of who MCC is and who our customers are. This sort of brings all the data together, and it kind of starts to build the foundation of insight and an insight-driven organisation. But actually winning this award came with its own stereotypes. It reinforced a reputation which I hold within the organisation of being a bit of a data geek. And I wouldn't say I was, actually. And I don't think I conform to those stereotypes. But I do love data. Not because I'm any good at crunching numbers for hours on end or sitting in a dark room looking at reams of spreadsheets, but because I'm obsessed with what it can tell us about our customers and our business. I'm a marketing professional in one of the oldest sporting organisations in the world, where customers are critical to our success, but we're only just realising this. Customer expectations and behaviours have changed dramatically over the past decade. You know in your own life what you expect when you go out for an evening or you go to a sporting event. You want value for money and you want a memorable experience. Organisations such as MCC are expected to meet customers' needs and expectations at every interaction. In return, we'll get their customer loyalty, hopefully. The ability to deliver this depends on the extent to which customer centricity is embedded within every single person within the business. And for me, this has been about customer data centricity as well. Now, this is easier said than done in an organisation that's over 200 years old. Historically reliant on reputation, and until probably about 5 or 6 years ago, perhaps slightly arrogant about our ability to sell out test matches and for demand to exceed supply. But it's true that very few organisations have the necessary culture to deliver truly customer-centric experiences. There are often too many operational constraints, whether they're real or even perceived, and many other distractions, and believe me, we're certainly not exempt from this. But we're just starting out on a journey, one which starts with putting the customer and our customer data at the heart of what we do. Shifting business culture, especially in a traditional organisation like MCC, is not easy, and it's not happening overnight. I've set out on a challenge of taking charge of the customer experience end to end, owning it to improve the business outcomes and over time achieve financial growth. I believe the relationship between brand, data and customer is so inextricably linked that we have to view them all together. To win customers' trust and loyalty, it is essential to coordinate activities and messages across all channels at all times. For example, it's critical that the brand invests in building a better customer relationship by making it easier to interact and conduct transactions, and that's a fundamental part of our business. By taking a broader view of the customer experience and owning the customer end to end, marketing can understand in detail the full scope and nature of the engagement with our customers. What does data at the heart of MCC mean or look like? Well, this definitely has to be viewed in the same light as customer experience, in my opinion. Customer data and insight helps drive customer experience and decisions on how to improve it. Using insight to influence the customer experience brings it to life. We have to know the context in which our customers interact and integrate that accordingly to create actions based on knowledge. By understanding who our customers are and their likely behaviours, we can begin to tailor experiences based on what we know about our customers, rather than what we think we know about them, which is definitely a common trait within MCC. This in turn has positive implications for customer experience, revenue, and loyalty. In short, insight informs action, and action drives revenue. Now, I'm quite conscious that I'm starting to speak quite ideologically here. Without a doubt, understanding our customers is much easier said than done. One of the main challenges for me, inheriting almost 200 years of legacy in customer management, or lack of, one of the most difficult challenges was making sense of the data gathered over time. It was in various forms across multiple departments, and often with no sense of the importance in the value of good data. So of initial priority was to reduce the number of data pots that sat in isolation around the business. These were literally a spread around the ground. In 2011, we introduced an integrated membership ticketing and CRM system, the first time we have housed all of our membership and ticketing purchase data in one place. This integrated system had immediate benefit to customer management and gave marketing, for the first time, ownership of customer information. Whilst this system was a massive step in the right direction, I soon began to realise its limitations, and there were still customers I needed to know more about. So last year we developed a data warehouse which now combines ticket, membership, retail, hospitality and other smaller pots of data from around the business, things like our MCC Cricket Academy, Tavern Pub, tours, the data that we collect through Wi-Fi. And this was entirely a marketing driven decision. I had to make the business understand that whilst we want to optimise each customer transaction through a coherent customer journey, the real key to success is the ability to look beyond the short-term gain of that customer. By extending ourselves, as in marketing, beyond the traditional realm of what we do, I've been able to view our customer relationships holistically and influence business functions outside of my immediate domain. This approach has provided multiple benefits, which include being able to define who our customers are across all parts of the business in a single customer view. Not only who is purchasing, what they are purchasing, and perhaps more importantly, who's not purchasing. In addition, by monitoring and tracking and understanding the quantitative and qualitative value of customers' experience through research, I can provide critical insight that can directly influence the company's actions. For example, by looking at insight, we can introduce new products in retail. The quality of customer experience becomes very tangible, and we must action quickly and in a very systematic way any shortcomings that we find in that research. We've also managed to save time within the team on data juggling, although we now work harder to be better at what we do. And finally, one of the other benefits is that we're realizing a reduction in reliance on agency support as we manage most of our data queries in-house now. So all of that's easier said than done, but how did I go about gaining buy-in? And really this has been a cultural shift within the organization, and a very traditional one at that. As I'm sure many of you can appreciate, gaining buy-in both upwards and across the organisation is really difficult. This is especially true when marketing and data are seen as somewhat alien to the organisation and what it has previously felt is important. I've worked hard to originally define and now redefine my role and influence within the organisation. I feel I've earned a place in helping to define our business strategy and have taken on the hard work of owning the customer experience within MCC and Lords. By seeking to integrate customer insight with brand and the entire customer journey, we are on a journey ourselves of improving the overall customer experience, guided by data. Building an insight-driven organisation has not happened overnight, and we are by no means there yet. But I've had to work for a number of years in changing and challenging the language used and the way decisions are made, which fundamentally affect the way we service our customers. Time was well spent educating the chief executive and the board on the benefits of investing in data, showing that by investing in real-time insight to build and develop products and services our customers will embrace will lead to revenue growth and customer loyalty. Indeed, a very simple example has been the success of our targeted email marketing as a result of insight. It's a very tangible example which I was able to give to the board of what good data and knowledge can do in terms of driving revenue. I've never believed that marketing is a siloed function. Our influence and responsibility has to extend across the entire engage, sell, and attend journey to bring all channels and all kinds of interactions together. In a complex business such as MCC, with many revenue streams, we have a long way still to go, but marketing now has a voice. In fact, gaining buy-in across the organisation has required a slightly different approach. It's hard for people to get excited about data. So by linking data, brand, and customer experience, I've been able to get people to realise the importance of data without them actually realising it. It's about data. So instead, many teams now know more about our customers than they ever used to. Certainly more fact rather than their instinct, because I'm now able to provide them with knowledge that comes directly from the data, customer demographics as well as customer feedback. For example, and due to the nature of our business, there are many employees who have worked for MCC for many, many years. Our membership department is a prime example of this. And perhaps one of the most important and they have one of the perhaps the most important and challenging roles of looking after our membership customer base. They've historically had a view of, we know our members, don't send them any emails, they don't have email addresses, they don't like receiving emails. However, recent insight into our membership data shows that whilst the average age of our members is 64, we have 87% email addresses. And indeed, targeted emails have demonstrated strong returns. So I think I made my point there. So creating an insight-driven organisation is definitely the utopia, and we're not there yet. I would actually say we have an insight-driven marketing team who can affect change and educate the organisation because we own the customer at every level. In all honesty, insight-driven decisions don't extend much further than that yet, unless we help facilitate them. But as described, I can now leverage data insight to drive decision-making on improving our customer experience. For example, I'm currently going through the process of analysing customer feedback from 2014 international matches and using our customer demographics to paint a picture to the rest of the organisation about how our customers feel. This feeds into a briefing process where we make decisions on catering, for example, based on what our customers are telling us. Whilst this might not be anything groundbreaking, for MCC it's a fundamental shift from making decisions based on business needs to making decisions based on the needs of the customer. And this will evolve over time. So what does the future look like? I've got a longer term objective of combining behaviour and usage data with customer information, providing a view of customers based on their interactions with us, MCC members especially. We don't even know which members come into the ground on a match. So you can begin to see as soon as we start to know which members are coming in, we know what they're buying, we know who our most valuable MCC members are. More knowledge and insight will help us get better at what we do. We can more consistently use this insight to develop products and services to better suit our customers and their changing needs. Indeed, we can hopefully learn to anticipate their needs, which will in turn drive revenue. More consistently, we will view our customers through the right lens. And that means just by grouping and organising our customers into relevant segments to allow us to service those customers efficiently. We'll find ways of more effectively engaging with the wider team within MCC and pass on insights throughout the organisation, particularly to those areas that wouldn't normally consider customer insight as part of their operational or strategic change. We already spend less on traditional marketing methods, but I still envisage us shifting further away from this and moving more budget to insight. Having this method will help us target the right customers at the right time. And modern marketing methods, digital marketing methods can really aid us in finding other like-minded customers. So these are all elements that many companies already employ, I'm sure, and have done so for many years. But for me and for MCC, we're really at a crossroads of change, which won't happen overnight, but which will determine the path we take and our future success. There's just the five top tips here from me. I think definitely getting your chief executive on side and senior leaders is critical to success. I think don't get bogged down with jargon. This is especially the case for me in a non-data organisation. We've got to find ways to make data appeal to the masses. Give marketing a voice. I think marketing should know your customer better than anybody else. And if you work for an agency to do marketing, you should know your customer better than anyone. Give budget to insight and research to understand the end-to-end customer journey, because that will help drive revenue longer term. And share insight and knowledge, and let it inform action, and be willing to change if that's telling you something you need to do differently. And lastly, better customer insight, I think, equals better customer experiences, which equals increased revenue.